Morning report from IG in Melbourne. It's been an interesting week over here in the Asian region where we've seen an absolute trampoline effect with regards to the market volatility, particularly in the ASX. The ASX has experienced very, very high and very, very strong moves. Over the last 4 days, it actually makes it 2-2 in terms of a tennis score with regards to up and down days. We've seen a down on Monday, down by 1.9%, up around about 2.63% on Tuesday, and that was actually the best score we've seen since around about December 2012. We've also then had a down day on Wednesday from RBA Stevens' comments, which saw us off around about 1.9% again, and that all put us back in a situation yesterday where when we popped up that we only ended up being down around about 8 points for the week. This morning, it's always going to be very, very soft after what is going to be the 4th of July celebrations for the Asian region floating through. So with that in mind, it's going to be very, very soft today, and already seeing this morning, volumes are already quite low considering that we are just into the first hour of trade, and volumes are around about a third of what they normally are at this kind of time. Looking at that, we will be looking at the materials plays. They have continued to sort of outperform this week. Last night we saw BHP jumping up around about 4 and a bit% in London, and we're following through on that here in Australia today. We're seeing them up around about 1.6% to $31.80. But the issue that we're sort of looking at with regards to tonight is that at the moment, most of the markets over here in Asia are very unsure about how the market's going to react to the unemployment and employment change coming out of the US tonight and after coming back online. It is going to be a very interesting situation for the fact, do they actually throw a tantrum like we saw when Ben Bernanke announced that yes, they were indeed going to taper from the FOMC, and when that will actually occur? Or are they actually going to start reacting positively, considering that it is good news that the expectations are for unemployment to drop to 7.5% and for the ADP employment change to move to 166,000 jobs added? So we actually think that they may actually respond quite positively. The reason for it is that we have actually seen during the week the trade balance come out on the upside in terms of the fact that consumer confidence is returning. It was the second record month ever with regards to imports. $236 billion of products were bought into the US last month. Most of them was coming from mobile phones, automobiles, fuel, and high-end items like that US consumers are obviously consuming at quite a rate of knots. The only difference is that unfortunately on US exports, it did show a very stagnated process, and the reason for it is, again, China and Europe are the major trading partners for the US, and they're the ones that are dragging the chain. But in saying that, if there is good numbers out of tonight, I actually think the markets will actually finally realise that the US market is actually standing on its own 2 feet, and that will have a fairly good approach across the entire globe as they realise the biggest economy in the world is on the way up. So it is going to be a soft day here in Asia. It will sort of probably see the ASX finally finishing in the positive and actually having a positive week, up roughly around about 0.3% for the week, to open up the new financial year. But realistically, all eyes what will happen on tonight and obviously Monday morning Asia time to actually see what happens. So interesting weekend ahead, and it will be a very, very interesting afternoon session here in Asia as we approach that unemployment and ADP number dropping.